For the last 2 years, on a farm just out of Turikina, not far from Wanganui, the best 4x4 off-road drivers have met to challenge themselves and their purpose-built machines in the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. The challenge is set out over 10 different courses. Competitors must attempt courses before moving on to the next course. Each course has 10 gates worth 100 points apiece. The gates must be attempted in numerical order, but a competitor can, if he wishes to, miss out a gate. Each gate must be entered in a forward direction, and to score the 100 points, the vehicle must pass completely through the gate without hitting the uprights. If you stop forward motion, roll past 360 degrees, or touch the Suzuki boundary tapes, you'll be stopped and your scores will be tallied to that point. Sounds simple enough? It's not. The first course is Claw Your Way Out, sponsored by Mickey Thompson Tyres. It looks simple, but then you factor in the fact that the weather has been very, very unkind to Wanganui residents lately, and those bogs are very, very deep. First combination, Phil Walton and Todd Charman. A veteran of the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge, Auckland's Phil Walton was back for 2017, this time in his refurbished Brunton Engineering sponsored truck.
When I was 13 years old, my old man, who had been in the sport for quite some time before that, on and off, he'd taken a break, and then he got back into it, introduced me into the scene, and it was like a bug really. You just, once you're in, you're hooked, and been going ever since, working our way up.
Same for me pretty much. Father was a founder member of the Hawke's Bay Club, so I think my first full dry run I was 6 months old, and since then I think I started to drive at 11 years old. A lot of it's instinct, knowing what the truck's going to do, so it comes down to experience in the truck. Like I said, I've had probably 20 years co-driving experience, so it's a lot of co-driving. You just sort of learn, it's natural after a while.
This year, with a brand new transmission, the 10 courses will be a bit of an experiment for the Aucklander.
With Dan Cowper from CowperTrucks setting up the course, he always sets a real good challenge. The angles are always all balance points, so anything can happen on the day. I've got trust in Dan that he's set up a course that's drivable to a certain degree. So yeah, I'm expecting a real challenge.
So, first one to go on the 2017 Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. These are the anxious moments for Philip Walton. Away he goes. New transmission in the truck this time. Watch the bottom of your screen, the CowperTrucks Suzuki scoreboard. When the green light comes on, that means they've negotiated safely one of the gates and they've picked up 100 points. 200 points now for Phil Walton, the Penrose Compliance Centre Brunton Engineering truck. Perfect score so far, and you can see very green here in Turikina, but also very wet and very muddy. It's looking pretty good as they work their way to 5. And will they clear gate number 5? Yes, they do. So a perfect score so far. This is the dream start for the Aucklander. He was a little bit worried. He says he hasn't put too much time into the transmission on the truck. 6 out of 6. Looking very, very good. The four-wheel steer certainly a help. Airbag suspension and Bilstein shocks make it a little bit easier. Oh, and he flirts with the Suzuki tape. I don't know if he caught it, but he certainly stopped forward motion, so he picks up 700 points. This is Hamish Allred and Paul Barnesy Barnes. Hamish made history at this very property last year with the first landed backflip in the Southern Hemisphere. Once again, a great start. They're going for maximum points. Remember, a driver can, if he wishes to, miss out a gate if he thinks there'll be a benefit for him. Further down the course, Mickey Thompson bring it to you. It's Claw Your Way Out. It's the first of 10 courses. The best drivers in the country on the most extreme courses. That's what the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge is all about. You see, he mows down course number 5, so he misses out on the 100 points, but he gets to continue. But now he's got a breakage by the look of it. Have a look at it on the replay. Look at the left front wheel. The steering arm breaks, and that is a bad start for Hamish Allred and Paul Barnes. So they've got some repairs to do, but luckily we've got a fully stocked workshop, as the next combination is Nathan Fogden and Mike Gibbons. This is a 4-cylinder powered CowperTruck Mitsubishi Evo 9, and they've hit the Suzuki tapes, and that's a terrible start for the two from the Bay of Plenty. Once you hit the Suzuki boundary tapes, you score no further points. Champions from last year, Scott and Jared Biggs, the roof improvements truck. The Biggs Howard Engineering combination. These guys are never going to let you die wondering. They are full of aggression. 2 for 2 so far. Have a look once again. The CowperTrucks Suzuki scoreboard on the bottom of the screen. That will keep you updated. Plenty of power, and they've added nitrous injection this year as well. And they flirt with 5, but I think they get away with it. They do. They were so close. Well, it's a sport about power, but it's also about precision. And this is some wonderful driving from Scott and Jared Biggs out of Auckland, the identical twins. Can they get through the bog? Or remember, if they stop forward motion, and they too have hit the Suzuki tape, so they're going to score the 700 points as well. Well, this is the one that everyone's been talking about. This is pro FMX rider Levi Sherwood and Kane Newman. Levi Sherwood's had a crash course in driving these amazing little trucks from the event organiser Dan Cowper, and he chose to miss the first gate, so he thought he had a better chance by missing 1 to continue the momentum into 2. So he's gone through 3, A-OK. So at the moment he's scored 200 points. Remember, it's 100 points per gate. Up to the top to 5. Oh, and once again they get perilously close to that inside gate, and they take out 6. So it started so well, but it's gone a little bit wrong here for Levi. You see Kane Newman just working the individual brakes there. Oh, and he's the one that's first to go over into the second bog. He's taken the high line. I don't think he hit the tape, but he certainly hit the gate, and you can see that on the score. So into the second bog, the deepest one here, and look at poor old Kane Newman. That's what it looks like in a washing machine when it's full of mud, and that's what it is for Levi Sherwood. First timers Aaron Guest and Gary Preston out of Dargaville in the winterless north. Had a torturous journey getting here. It's a Howard Engineering truck built in Wellington, LS1 Chevy powered. Aaron said to us he saw last year's program on television and knew he wanted to be a part of it. So far so good, safely through the first 3. Look at the relaxed style of Aaron Guest hanging on the centre intrusion bar on the Rosewarne truck. 5 for 5, so he's perfect to the top of the hill. Now it gets a little bit interesting. Gary working the individual brake levers. You see the left front locking up there. Oh, and they've hit the tape as well. Maybe just missing out on the judgment there for the pair from Dargaville. Phil Hobart and Brittany Hobart, father and daughter combination. And the first thing that strikes you about this truck, it looks like a little snub-nosed shorty, but it's got the same wheelbase as the other trucks, but the difference being the Buick engine is in the rear of the truck. 3 for 3 so far. First timers here at the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. Oh, and now it's gone a little bit awry here for the father and daughter combination, and this is when it gets a little bit dangerous, and they come perilously close to ending up on their roof. Just a good bit of driving from Father Phil kept them from disaster. So this is the winner in the inaugural Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. This is a husband and wife combination. This is Andrew and Amy Garner. So far, so good for the pairing out of Tauranga. Now, this truck is characterised by the fact that it's independent front and rear suspension, and it's about a half a metre longer than the normal wheelbases on those trucks, and that sometimes is a godsend, but sometimes it can be a hazard as well. Oh, he takes out the gate number 7. Misses out 8, goes straight for 9, gets through 9. Is he going to be the first to complete the course here at Turakina? No, he is not. That wall of water signifies that it's all over in course 1, the Mickey Thompson course for Andrew Garner. This is Kevin Hermison. Nick Hamilton sits alongside him. Kevin's had a storied career on 2 wheels in the off-road sector of New Zealand motorcycling, and he gets perilously close to the Suzuki tape as well, but negotiates it. So far so good for Hermie. Helped the organiser Dan Cowper with the original concept of this and some of the excavation work. This is a Nissan powered Cowper truck heading to the top here. It's been a pretty good performance so far when you consider that he hasn't got quite the power of the V8 trucks we've seen before him. The turbocharged Nissan automatic transmission as well. Slowly wending its way. Let's see how he gets through 7. Oh, and he's in the tapes too. Well, these guys are just misjudging the slipperiness of the course. I think just drifts out a little bit wide. This is the oldest combination at the event this year. This is John Cowper. He's the father of the organiser Dan. And sitting alongside him, his good friend Ian Templeton. Ian is a driver in the 4x4 National Series in his own right, but he decides to sit in the co-driver's seat this time round. Have a look at the different approach from these experienced competitors. You won't see quite the aggression we've seen previously. This is a considered approach. You see John, all concentration as they get to the top of the hill here. This is the Mickey Thompson Claw Your Way Out. Course 1 of 10 for the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. So far, perfect to the top for John Cowper. Lexus V8 powered, the only manual transmission in the field. Oh, and they've gone into the tapes as well.
Well done.
Well, a chance to have a look at the scoreboard after the first round. Scott Biggs, Aaron Guest, Phil Walton, Andrew Garner and John Cowper all together on 700 points. In 6th place, it is Kevin Hermison. Welcome back to the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge for 2017. This is course 2. This is the Optimo Bogbuster. A deep bog run right up the swamp. And what about a steep hill at the end of it, just to make things interesting. First to go will be Hamish Allred and co-driver Paul Barnesy Barnes. They made history last year, of course, with the backflip. That's now a distant memory. Hamish Allred and Paul Barnes make a formidable combination, both expressing a lack of fear that has both helped and hindered them in the past.
I like that, you know, with track racing, you know, it's all about your speed and cornering, but this is, you got to really read the lay of the land, and there's so much to it, whether you succeed or fail, and there's a lot of variables, and I quite like the challenge of that.
Oh, my parents were full driving 39 years ago. Wasn't involved for much growing up, and then found myself a seat with Hamish.
Barnesy's a great co-driver, he's got no fear at all, just like me, so, and we've got the truck underneath us, so yeah, it's worked really well.
We've both got a good idea of what we both want to do, and we just drive by the seat of pants after that to both know what the other's going to do.
The combination made history last year with the first ever backflip formed in the Southern Hemisphere.
It's as much about crowd excitement, you know, and sometimes you forego points to really excite the crowd, and to me that's sort of what it's about.
Well, there's a lot of expectation around these two, Hamish Allred and Paul Barnesy Barnes. They won't be happy with their first start, of course, because they broke the steering arm. So once again, have a look on the bottom of the screen, the CowperTrucks Suzuki scoreboard. Every time the green light comes up, that means they've cleared a gate. Well, this one's going to be quick. They're up to 6 already. They've cleared 6. They're heading up towards 7. There's not going to go much further than that, though. And once again, they'll be disappointed by their own high standards. That's not the start they were looking for. Nathan Fogden and Mike Gibbons next. Only got 0 in course number 1 because he hit the tape straight away. They'll be looking for redemption here. You're on board with Nathan and Mike. Look at the grimace on Mike's face, trying to dodge the mud, and they're not going to get much further than 3 gates. So that's 300 points for the pair from the Bay of Plenty. Scott and Jared Biggs now in the roof improvements truck. 700 in course number 1. And they're really going to attack it. See Jared just dodging the best of the mud, and unfortunately our onboard camera catching most of it. So through 4, through 5, it all happens pretty quick with the identical twins from Auckland. They take out number 8, but they continue to keep clawing their way up the hill. Can they make it? They do. That's the best run we've seen so far. This is Levi Sherwood and Kane Newman. Brilliant debut on course number 1. They scored 600 points. What can they do here? Straight into the bog, no messing around. This is the attack of the pro freestyle motocrosser from Palmerston North, that is Levi Sherwood. But unfortunately, they've come to a grinding halt and only got through 2 gates, so that's 200 points for the newcomer to the sport. This is Dargaville's Aaron Guest and Gary Preston. First time at the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. Equal first after course number 1. Good start so far. Just listen to the Chevy sing, and Aaron just trying to keep the eyes nice and clear so he can steer this Rosewarne sponsored truck between the gates. So far so good. Oh, big wheelie. Are they going to take out gate number 8? They're still slightly moving forward. No, Gary said that's it, we're stopped. But 700 points again. A good effort in course number 2. So this is the Matamata father and daughter combination. You see the trucks washed between each and every course. So a good start, attacking start. Remember, they're a little bit down on power. V6 supercharged Buick engine. And they're going to call it a day at 300 in the Optimo Bogbuster, course number 2. Inaugural winner of the challenge 2 years ago. This is Andrew Garner and his wife Amy. I talked to Amy before they started today, and I said I think it was a waste of time putting the makeup on because you're going to be covered in mud in no time at all. And there's a graphic example of it as they get through 3 gates and get covered in the mud that makes up the courses here at Turakina. Kevin Hermison, Nick Hamilton next to go. Kevin from Northwood. Remember, it's a Nissan 4-cylinder, screaming the turbocharger. Once again, our onboard camera taken out of the equation as the mud comes down thick and fast on the Mickey Thompson sponsored truck of Hermie. John Cowper and Ian Templeton. Once again, watch the approach from the veterans. John, a champion in the late 70s, early 80s, a 3-time New Zealand champion. And it looks like gate number 3 is the nemesis for all the competitors so far. What can Phil Walton and Todd Charman do? The new transmission on the truck. Floating its way, and then the rev limiter comes in on the Chevy as they work their way through. Looking to get to gate number 5. I don't think they're going to do it. No, they're not. So they will get 400 points. So once again, 2 combinations with maximum points. Scott Biggs and Aaron Guest get the 700. Hamish, 600. Phil Walton, 400, and so on. It's a tight competition. Overall, Scott Biggs and Aaron Guest locked together on 1,400, 700 apiece through course 1 and 2. Plenty more to play for here at the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. This is course number 3. This is a Hermanson contracting, 1 step at a time. This one is a simple matter of up and down, but not so fast. Massive steps have been cut into the hill just to make it interesting. Remember, it's 1,000 points if you get it right.
Who knows what he's going to do?
So first to go this time, it will be Nathan Fogden in the Mitsubishi. Making the step up to a Mitsubishi Evo-powered CowperTrucks, a Bay of Plenty pairing of Nathan Fogden and Mike Gibbons.
You know, this is our first season in this truck. It's the first run for the first time in November, so we've had 5 national rallies. Definitely a lot different to the super production truck we're running, and so you know we're still learning, but things are coming along quite nicely now, and you know, it is good fun.
It was off-roading of a different kind that drew Mike Gibbons to the BF Goodrich truck.
Well, I've raced motocross bikes my entire life, so I've learnt to deal with obstacles and I've done a lot of winch challenges, and then Nathan came to me and goes, look, I need a guy in the passenger seat. Are you up for it? And I thought about it for quite a while, thinking, is this a wise move for my body? But no, it's been good. It's good fun racing with Nathan, and it's love it. I know what he's trying to achieve, and all I'm trying to do is help that, and he knows that he can go into a corner. He knows I'm going to pull the brake, and he knows it's going to happen, and I know he's going to put the gas on when he needs to too, so it's definitely a 2-way street.
I've got the power at my foot, so I reckon that makes me the boss.
Okay, yeah.
It's just what we do, and it's good fun. Yeah.
Well, it hasn't been an auspicious start for the pairing from the Bay of Plenty. Scored no points in course number 1 and only 300 in course number 2. Let's see how they go in the Hermison contracting, 1 step at a time. And this is one of the courses that the drivers and the co-drivers walked over and over again just to find a plan. You see there that Nathan has decided to miss out gate number 1 to get the momentum to come up the hill. So far he's got to the top in pretty good shape. Now it gets a little bit interesting. Dan Cowper, the organiser, lulls them into a false sense of security by starting the first 2 dips quite easily. And then there's this diagonal cut across 9. Remember, you can't touch the gates. If you touch the gates, you don't score your 100 points. This is a pretty good run for Nathan Fogden, but it's come to a premature end at gate number 9. And we add up the tally, 600 points. So their best point score so far as we move into course 3 of 10. This is the Biggs brothers. Always hit the front after that last one. That's the plan, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to try a slightly less conservative line here. See how we go.
So these guys are joint leaders. so far with a lot of land to traverse just yet. Just see how deep the bog is. They've decided to go for gate number 1, so they're looking for the maximum. They're looking for the 1,000 points, and it's looking pretty good so far. Oh, and they touch 4. Well, the perfect record just went out the window, and you see that on the CowperTrucks scoreboard as well. They get to the top, gingerly go through 6, and then it's just probably, I would suggest, an injection of nitrous to get them over 7. Down the other side, they're looking in pretty good shape here. Are we going to see a course completion? All the power in the world, but they're not going to make it, and maybe an issue for the roofing improvements truck. It came to a grinding halt there. We'll check on that for you. Levi Sherwood, Kane Newman next to go. He's decided to miss gate number 1. Remember, he is brand new to this, spent years and years on 2 wheels, rode his first motorbike at the age of 4, drove his first Cowper truck probably about 6 weeks ago. He's got the experience, Kane Newman helping him out, and this is getting very, very precarious indeed, and over they go. And that's the first rollover we've seen in the 2017 edition of the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. Have a look at it on the replay. It's just a gentle tip over. Not what Levi Sherwood was looking for. Welcome back to the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge for 2017. We're on to course 6, Kevin Hermison Contracting, step by step. Is the key to this consistency? You guys running first equal?
Oh, well, we might be running last after this one.
So this is the Dargaville combination of Aaron Guest and Gary Preston. Again, they chose to miss course, or should I say gate number 1, to get the momentum to get to the top. 5 out of 5, or 4 out of 5 if we look at it. Now the difficult part. Once again, you see the concentration on Gary's face. He handles the individual braking. You see him moving his left and right hands there. Aaron is the driver, though. He's a dairy farmer from Dargaville, as I mentioned. Rosewarn Contractors are the sponsors for the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge for these guys from the Winterless North. So far, so good. Now the diagonal at 9. They get very close to 9, but they make it through. Can they get to the top of the course? No, they can't. They'll stop at 9 and they'll score 600 points, and that will break the deadlock in the tie at the top of the field. This is Phil and Brittany Hobart from Matamata. Once again, they've decided to miss gate number 1. Buick V6 supercharged engine in the rear of the truck. Metz Engineering, one of the sponsors. Oh, and they just touched 7. Well, the judges will be looking long and hard at that. Slowly but surely through 8. Now, this is a difficult one because you've got to attack it on the diagonal to go through 9. They decide at the last minute to attack it. They get through 9. That was a great bit of driving from Phil Hobart. And once again, they can't get to the course completion, but they score good points and they needed them. This is Andrew and Amy Garner from Tauranga, the Force 4 four-wheel drive equipment sponsored truck. Again, they decide not to go through gate number 1 and they hit 4. You saw the flag. So what they thought was going to be a pretty good run hasn't turned out that way. This is the most difficult gate on the course. This is course 6, the long wheelbase, paying dividends here for Andrew Garner. It certainly looks easy, but it isn't. These steps cut deep into the hillside are very steep and very deep. 9, can you get through 9? This is the one you cut on the diagonal, nearly puts the Force four-wheel drive equipped truck on its side. Can you get to the end of the course? No one's been able to do it so far. You've got to maintain forward momentum, and he can't do it. 700 points for the married couple from Tauranga. Kevin Hermison will have to put up a good showing here on the course that he sponsored. This is the Hermison Contracting step by step. Hermie needs a good score here because he hasn't had a fantastic start to the competition. Once again, they've decided to miss 1. They get to the top. Now, how do they attack 6? Or do they decide to miss 6 and concentrate on 7? Just look at the angles. This Mickey Thompson sponsored CowperTruck gets itself in. All praise to the driver and the co-driver, Nick Hamilton. You see him working the individual brake levers there. Oh, and he's just clipped 9. And the judges saw it as well. And I don't think he's going to get through. No, he's not. The Nissan's not going to have the power to drag it out of the mud. So 500 points for Hermie. And once again, we'll watch the approach this time from the most experienced combination here at Turakina. This is John Cowper, and he's clipped 4 on the way up. Well, that was just a genuine mistake, wasn't it? Just tippy-toeing his way through 6, the most difficult gate, and he gets through. You see the flags come up. Through 7 as well. 8, pretty straightforward, in as much as any of these courses are straightforward. Now 9, the diagonal cut. Oh, and he takes out 9. Now, will he be able to complete the course? No one's been able to do it so far, and John Cowper can't do it either. Really? 600 points for John. This is Philip Walton and Todd Sharman. 4-wheel steer will be an advantage on the Hermanson contractors step by step. Once again, they decide to miss out gate number 1. They get to the top 5 without too much trouble. This is the most difficult gate on the course. You've just got to know when to apply the throttle to come out of that deepest of deep dips. Now, for the experience level of these guys, it's pretty straightforward till we get down towards the end. And look at that. I wonder if they'll be ruining the day when they... Oh, they won't now because they've taken 9 as well. I was going to say maybe if they had taken 1, they could have got a possible 10. It's not going to happen for Phil Walton, but he scores 700 valuable points. Hamish Arrett next to go. Paul Barnes is the co-driver. Well, that surprised me. They decided to miss out 1 as well. They're probably the most aggressive pairing here at the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge, so they're going to get to the top in pretty good shape. Chevy Corvette powered CowperTruck running Fox suspension. These guys talking to each other by intercom all the time. Gingerly through 9, they get there. Can they get through 10? Can they make it to the top? That's a very deep bog, and no, they can't, but that's a pretty good run, and that's 800 good points for Hamish Lorette. So Scott Biggs once again tops the charts with Hamish Arrett on 800 points. Phil Walton is second, and then it's Andrew Garner and John Cowper. Overall, the situation changes a little bit now because Scott and Jared Biggs have got a clear lead now from Aaron Guest and Phil Walton. Course 4 is the Goodman's Highway to Hell, and the name is an apt description. Look at the drop-off. Straight down, 180-degree turn at the bottom, and then straight back up again. Sounds easy? It isn't. Well, the big crowd have been looking with anticipation at this one, and it's been worrying some of the drivers as well, and certainly this man. Pro FMX rider Levi Sherwood needs little introduction when he's on 2 wheels, but put him in a Cowper Extreme truck and it's a different story.
It's actually complete opposite to how I ride dirt bikes, so only really thing I could bring as an experience is just the whole mental side of it. I think treating any competition is all the same, but definitely not driving.
It's been a crash course and a steep learning curve for the Sanson local, a process he has loved.
Something I always loved doing, just full driving in the ute at home or down the beach or whatever, but nothing to this level. So just to get the opportunity to drive the truck, and what Dan's taught me in the short amount of time has been really awesome. So looking forward to it. From what I've learned so far, you need to be hard on it to actually do the stuff you want it to do, which is just quite new to me. Normally I try and be quite smooth and not really abuse my bike. But I've just had to learn to just thrash the truck, to be honest. Yeah, so it's all new.
Adding some experience to the combo is co-driver Kane Newman.
Yeah, going to try to. Been around for a few years now, so hopefully choose a few lines and try to stick to them. A couple of the combinations have been together for years, and we've been together for a couple of hours. So should be interesting, but I think we'll get it. During the practice, I had to push him a little bit. He was a little bit shy, but I think we'll give it a good thrashing tomorrow and drive like we stole it, I guess.
So this is the Goodman's earth-moving highway to hell. As I said, it's provided a few anxious moments for driver and co-driver alike. Certainly all brand new to this man. He knows all about dropping off the side of the world and getting plenty of air. Well, we may see this here. This is Levi Sherwood and Kane Newman in the New Zealand Championship winning CowperTruck. Chevy Camaro V8 powered. The downside of things is pretty easy as you see the gates trip through in order. Got to get this 180-degree turn right and stay off the Suzuki boundary tapes, because if you hit the boundary tapes, game over. So far, so good for Levi Sherwood. Well, he knows all about getting big air, and that's a perfect score. That's the first perfect 10 we've seen here in the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge for 2017. Have a look at the air. Here it is from a different angle. Plenty of attitude, plenty of altitude for Levi Sherwood and Kane Newman. Brilliant. 1,000 points.
How do you like that, boy?
Well, now in second place, out of Dargaville, this is Aaron Guest and Gary Preston. Gary tells me they argue like cat and dog and then go with their first decision. That's the philosophy behind the co-driving and the driver combination, which is so, so important. So far, so good for the Rosewarne contracting truck. LS Chevy power. Are they going to get to the top? No, they're not. They're going to scatter the spectators and the press. Well, they missed a few on the way up. Here it is on the replay. Have a look at this. It starts to go wrong through 7, but they clear 7, but they can't get 8 or 9, and they can't get 10. Super slow-mo. Well, we said before, it's a sport of millimetres, and you can see just how close it was. So how much of this one is bravery and how much is finesse?
Well, it comes down to horsepower too, and we're about half of what the other jokers are running, so just do the best we can.
Well, they were 8th place going into course number 4. Goodman's earth-moving highway to hell. So far, so good for the rear-engined truck. The Mudmod-sponsored Metz Engineering Buick. V6 supercharged engine sitting behind the driver and the co-driver, and that is the father and daughter combination, and they're not going to make it to the top either. And look how quickly the support crew, the rescue crew, spring into action, because the last thing you want is to go backwards down that hill. So there you heard it from the horse's mouth. It's going to be a hard work for Andrew and Amy Garner to turn the Force 4 four-wheel drive equipment sponsored truck at the bottom of the hill, but they do it as if they've been doing it every day of their life. Look for big air this time for the combination from Tauranga. Can they clear the course? Yes, they can. We've got another perfect 10 here at Turakina. Here it is on the replay. All the power in the world, all the air in the world, and Amy and Andrew pick up the 1,000 points. Super slow-mo shows the impact on the front suspension of Andrew's truck. Amy, this takes back to the motocross days. It's just a little bit of a drop-off for you.
Yeah, hopefully we can get the 1,000 points here. So yeah, no, good. Looking forward to it.
Well, Kevin Hermison was one of the best off-road racers in his day on 2 wheels, certainly one of the best on 4 as well, and he's a bit of a crowd pleaser. He likes to put on a bit of a show. Let's see what he does this time. Remember, he's in the 4-cylinder turbocharged Nissan, hasn't got the power of the V8, but I don't think that's going to bother him too much. Here is the approach. Hermie's got it. Well, I was going to say he's got it wrong. He's got it dead right if you want to attract the crowd, and that's what he's done. No stranger to the backflip is Levi Sherwood, but Kevin Hermison pulls out the big one here at Wanganui, and he's happy. 800 points into the bargain. Have a look at this. Probably could have got out of the throttle, but that's not the philosophy of Kevin Hermison. Nearly landed it. Well, we'll be talking about that for a long, long time. Here it is in real time.
Bring on, eh? Nah, I'm pretty happy about that, man.
John Cowper, Ian Templeton next to go. Lexus V8's CowperTruck. Dan would be one of the most anxious spectators watching this one. That's his dad doing the driving. His longtime friend Ian, and a driver in his own right, doing the navigation. You see him working the individual brake levers. So far, so good. Up the hill they come now. Lexus V8 power. Can they get to the top? No, they can't. 700 points for the oldest combination here. I sort of know the tactic with you guys here, but give it to us anyway.
Yeah, I think you're taking a good guess. I think Levi drove it beautifully. It'd be nice to replicate that. We'll see what happens.
Well, we know that these guys can do a backflip. They did it here last year. That won't be in their plans, but their plans will be to get the perfect score of 1,000 points and clear the top 10 gates. So far, so good. Now the fun begins for Hamish Orette and Paul Barnes, and they get it wrong as well, and that would be a scary proposition, hearing back down off that massive drop-off with very little control. Here it is on the replay. You see, they just clipped the wall, and I think that lost them the momentum, and they just didn't have enough to get to the top. It's a wild old ride here at the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge for 217. Nathan Fogden is the next to go. 10th place going into this round, course number 4, the Highway to Hell. Good so far, though. They flirt with the Suzuki boundary tape as they take the 180-degree turn. Now, has the Mitsubishi Evo 9 got the power to get to the top? It has, but I don't think they've got the traction to do it. So they're going to pick up 700 points, and that's going to add to their tally. So a chance to have a look at the points for the Goodman's Earth-moving Highway to Hell. Levi Sherwood and Andrew Garner pick up the perfect 10. Kevin Hermison picks up 800 points. Nathan Fogden, 700. So a change in the overall situation as well, because no Biggs brothers and no Phil Walton. That means Aaron Guest and Andrew Garner are now on top. So we move to the halfway stage in the 2017 Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge. This is the Roadrunner Manufacturing's Pedal to the Metal. And this is a speed test. It's against the clock, but it's got plenty of loopholes in it as well. You see plenty of off-camber corners, a little bit of a jump and a water splash, and then, of course, the course retraces its steps, and you've got to stop right on the button on gate number 10. First to go will be the Biggs brothers, Scott and Jared Biggs, out of Auckland. The winning combination at last year's Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge were Auckland identical twins, Scott and Jared Biggs.
It's a family-orientated sport, and our father was heavily involved in the sport and still is. About 10 years ago, he just said to us, "Do you want to build a rally truck?" And that's where it all began. And the last 10 years we've progressed to this now.
Being identical twins, they communicate virtually telepathically. Big help in this sport.
Yeah, well, it means I can speak my mind to him, so I can swear when things aren't happening fast enough.
Yeah, I just be quiet and do what I'm told, to be honest.
It's probably more from experience over the years doing it together that we know what we're thinking and where we want to head, and we obviously agree on a line before we start a hazard and try to stick to that plan. I try and leave it to Scott to make the calls. He decides what we're going to do, and then I just roll with that, just to try and stop us arguing or coming up with different ideas. Or I generally, what happens is I'll get him second guessing, and that sort of thing, and he just needs to pick his line, and that's the plan, and we just go and do it. 99% of the time we're on the same page before we even start talking. So.
Well, a huge comeback of sorts for Scott and Jared Biggs, because they blew the intake manifold on their Chevy in course number 3. They missed out course number 4, but here they are in course number 5, and they've got the potential to maybe win this. It's against the clock, remember, so it is full-on racing. No prisoners asked, no prisoners taken. You're on board here with the Biggs brothers, working their way around this off-camber corner. And you've got to be so careful that you don't slide the back of the truck out and touch the Suzuki tapes, because if you do that, you won't score a time and you won't be in the points. Good time for the Biggses, a 105.17. This is Levi Sherwood and Kane Newman. Another one of the CowperTrucks, this one Chevy Camaro powered. This is the first of our speed events. There's 2 in this year's competition. Remember, they're coming off the high of the perfect 10 in the Highway to Hell. Plenty of elevation, plenty of air for Levi and Kane.
Keep up, keep up.
Kane Newman just instructing his driver there to keep up on the high side of the off-camber course. Good time too, 1:10.27 for Levi. That puts him there or thereabouts. This is the man in first equal at the moment. This is Aaron Guest and Gary Preston. And they're not leaving anything on the table. Once again, you see the relaxed style of Aaron Guest. Gary Preston working the brakes, telling his driver just exactly where he wants him to put the Rosehorn contracting truck, and they do so. And a good time too for the Dargaville pairing, 104.95. That's the fastest we've seen so far. And you see they have to stop right on gate number 10. This is Phil and Brittany Hobart from Matamata. The V6 Buick. Once again, they're paying the price a little bit in horsepower, but what they're going to lose in horsepower, they're going to make up for skill and navigation. Great combination. Brittany's been with her dad for the last 2 years. Oh, and they get perilously close to the tape, but they will go through with a 102.43. That is a giant killing performance from the combination from Matamata. Will this guy be the quickest? He's the joint leader with Aaron Guest. They got all the power in the world. He's got independent front and rear suspension. Amy, his wife, sits alongside Andrew Garner. Plenty of air from the big jump. Now, how do they attack the off-camber side of things? It gets very, very sideways indeed. The Force 4 four-wheel drive equipment sponsored truck, but they make it through, and they're sub 1 minute, 53.26. That's easily the fastest we've seen, with Kim and Hermison still to come. Hermie knows all about racing. He's been a New Zealand cross-country champion on 2 wheels. He's been a New Zealand champion in the trucks as well, and that is a 1:00.43, and that means the Nissan is going to claim second place at this stage. What can John Cowper and Ian Templeton do about the times they've seen previously? Can they get under the minute? Can they gain the maximum 1,000 points? Because we will give that 1,000 points to the fastest combination. Is it going to be the most experienced combination? You're riding here with John Cowper and Ian Templeton in the Cowper truck. And they have got a problem. I think they've hit the boundary tape. They have hit the boundary tape. So you see on this graphic, they will score no time and no points. Hamish Arrett, Paul Barnes next to go. Can they do anything about the speed of Andrew and Amy Garner? Safely through the water splash. You're on board here with the Pertec Wanganui Cowper truck. 1:03.13. Not going to be good enough to beat the Garners. Nice run just the same for the combination from Wanganui. This is Nathan Fogden. Remember, it's a Mitsubishi Evo 9. Massive turbo on it, plenty of horsepower. Has he got the pace to match Andrew Garner? We will find out very shortly. Using the camber and then coming through the last little bit. And Nathan Fogden's going to stop the clocks with a 1:09.25. They won't be super happy with that. So topping course 5, it is Andrew and Amy Garner with the 1,000 points. Kevin Hermison in second, and in third place, Phil Hobart. Fourth place, Hamish Arrett. Course 5 means we're at the end of part 1 of the program, and in first place, it's Andrew Garner. Second is Aaron Guest, and in third, Kevin Hermison. Fourth place, Hamish Arrett, and in fifth, it is Phil Hobart. Well, it has been a tale of hope and a tale of drama for most of the competitors in the Suzuki Extreme 4x4 Challenge for 2017. We have reached the halfway. Andrew and Amy Garner are on top, but will they be there next week when we complete the challenge?